Hey y'all, and welcome to PolitiBrawl. My name is Brian, and Josh Hawley turns this judicial nominee's smile to a frown when exposing her shady past as a lawyer. Let's dive in.
Congratulations to the nominees. Thank you for being here. Congratulations to your families. Ms. Sugnanan, if I could start with you. I think we've established from the recent lines of questioning that you worked at Jones Day. You were a partner at Jones Day, is that right?
That's correct, Senator.
And you had, how long were you at Jones Day, out of curiosity?
I was at the firm for 6 years, Senator.
Okay. You had a series of clients in that time, I imagine. Is that fair to say?
That's correct.
That included a series of hedge funds, global hedge funds, is that right?
Yes, Senator.
Funds like Altair Global, Claren Road Asset Management, Glendon Capital Management, Nakota Capital, Oak Tree Capital Management, Oker Rose, and Centerbridge Partners. Does that sound right?
That sounds right.
And you represented these hedge funds in particular during a debt crisis that Puerto Rico had in 2017. Do you remember that?
Yes, Senator.
So Puerto Rico had a debt crisis in 2017. Your clients had bought a series of bonds and held quite a lot of money in bonds, if I'm correct. And it's $1.4 billion. Does that sound right?
Yes, Senator.
Of course, other people had bought bonds too. Normal people, everyday people had bought bonds. And when the debt crisis kicked off, the courts froze all of the assets, all of Puerto Rico's assets, to make sure that everybody got their fair share and was paid out in accordance with the law, and that normal people who bought bonds would get their fair share, right? I mean, I've got it right so far?
Yes, Senator.
So you, however, you, on behalf of your clients, you invented a novel claim. You filed a lawsuit under the takings clause. Is that right?
That's correct, Senator.
So you argued that the government was stealing from the hedge funds by freezing all of the funds. And if they pursued that course of action and didn't give your clients all of their money first, then they would have violated the U.S. Constitution. Is that right?
That's not quite correct, Senator.
Why was it a good idea? Why represent all of these hedge funds trying to get billions of dollars out of Puerto Rico when other everyday bondholders are left to pick up the slack? You dragged this thing out for years. I mean, you went back and forth to the circuit court. Other hedge funds then followed your lead. They thought that was terrific arguments, super inventive. So then they did the same thing. So then other hedge funds piled in. The bankruptcy went on and on. Puerto Rico was forced to institute serious austerity measures, much to the detriment of their citizens, average people who don't have money for hedge funds. Why is it a good idea to go to Puerto Rico and to try to get your rich clients prioritized over normal people in a way that seriously impoverished, if I might say, the citizens of the island?
Senator, the legal profession is bound by a code of ethics that I think is incredibly important and that I am proud to adhere to in every case. My clients in that case...
Take from the rich or take from the poor to give to the rich? Is that the code of ethics?
Senator, Jones Day was retained in that case to represent a group of clients. Along with my colleagues, I made the best possible arguments.
Well, wait. Are you saying it wasn't voluntary? You represented them, right? You were lead counsel, I thought. Were you lead counsel?
Senator, I was not lead counsel. I was one of many lawyers who handled that litigation.
And it was involuntary? You were assigned, or you chose to do it? You did it voluntarily, didn't you?
Senator, those hedge funds were a client of the firm. I was asked to join the team and work on that matter.
But you did. Okay. My question is why? Why is that? Why is it a good idea? I mean, you can say no.
Senator, my colleagues and I at Jones Day in that case made the best possible argument.
Well, I know, and I listen. I don't doubt I'm not questioning your talent. I understand why they wanted to hire you. Your talent's considerable. I'm just wondering why you thought it was important to deploy it on behalf of these hedge funds to the detriment of everyday citizens who were bearing the cost. And you invented it was very novel. Listen, I give you credit. And everybody else thought so too. That's why all the other rich players got in and said, we want to do that, and drug it out for years. I'm just wondering why you thought that was a good idea.
Senator, Jones Day was retained to represent
I heard that the
those
first
clients.
time. I'm just wondering why you thought it was a good idea. You could use your considerable talents in any number of cases, ways, means, and methods. You could have said no to representing these clients. You didn't, obviously. In fact, you vigorously defended them to the point of inventing this novel theory, which was quite successful for your very lucrative clients. I'm just wondering why.
Senator, I have represented a number of clients over the course of my career. I have represented the government. I have represented clients.
You don't have any problem with this? You think this is a good idea? You stand by it?
Senator,
No
my
regrets?
job in that representation was to vigorously represent my clients, which I did.
Sure, but we'd established, I think, a second ago, I thought you told Senator Kennedy that you resigned from Jones Day over a client that the firm was representing who you didn't like.
Senator, that is not at all what I said.
You didn't resign from Jones Day?
Senator, I did not resign from Jones Day because of any particular representation.
Oh, so it wasn't a moral, you had no moral quandaries?
Absolutely not, Senator.
You had no moral quandaries with any of the cases at Jones Day? That's your testimony?
Senator, I left the firm in January of 2021 because I was offered an opportunity to return to public service. It's an opportunity the firm supported and that I took.
You had no quandaries with them representing in the Trump litigation? You had
Senator,
no problem with that? That's your testimony?
Senator, I did not leave my firm because of that representation.
You had no moral problem with it.
Senator, I left the firm months later because I received an opportunity to return to public service.
You had no problem with that, and you had no problem representing the bondholders. So your testimony is you're happy to represent anybody who comes your way. Donald Trump, you bet. The bondholders, you bet. Hedge funds, you bet. Whoever. That's your testimony? I just want to make sure I got it right.
Senator, throughout my career, I have adhered to the code of ethics that all lawyers are bound by.
Well, sure, but the code of ethics allow you to make money from anybody. Listen, you can choose your clients. I'm not accusing you of any ethical violations at all. I'm not. I'm just trying to figure out why you thought it was important to have these hedge funds as your clients, and if you had any moral quandaries. And your testimony is you didn't have any moral quandaries, which is fine, but I just wonder if that's the best judgment.
Senator, throughout my career, I have represented corporate clients. I have represented criminal defendants. I have represented the government. Throughout my career, I am proud that I have fulfilled...
Want to say anything to the people of Puerto Rico while we're here?
Please let her finish the answer. Your time has expired. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Durbin. Throughout my career, I have represented many different clients. I am proud that in every representation, I have made the best possible arguments for all of my clients.
Do you want to say anything to the people of Puerto Rico?
Senator Whitehouse.
Thank you very much.
You can tell this nominee, unfortunately now Judge Suknanen, and she's in some hot water for some different issues, but you can tell she's deeply uncomfortable with the positions that she took on her own accord, and Josh Hawley, being the legal mind he is, and I live for this kind of stuff. This is the kind of nerd stuff I really geek out over, because he is slowly building up this argument of, hey, nice to see you, welcome in, congratulations on being nominated. You did X, Y, and Z. Are you proud of that? And she fell headlong into the trap, and you can pinpoint there are two moments you can pinpoint that make her go from, oh crap, I am in trouble, and then, oh, I am now really on the defensive. She literally came into this Senate chamber thinking she was gonna conquer the world because she's a girl boss. She is gonna be out there and she's just gonna take it to the patriarchy as much as she possibly can. And Josh Hawley just points out, here's your record. Do you stand by this? Because it turns out what she was basically doing as a lawyer was that she found that she was able to basically withhold and continue to halt proceedings based on a sort of loophole in the law that ultimately screwed over a lot of people in Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico is corrupt enough as it is. When there was a major hurricane that passed through there during the first Trump administration, I cannot remember the name of the hurricane, but when they were trying to get supplies to these people, they had to work with the mafia. That's not a joke. In order for people to get hurricane relief, they needed the mafia. And when it comes to relief, you'd think that this person, now unfortunately again, Judge Suknanen, you'd think she'd have a little bit more empathy for that sort of situation, right? Well, as it turns out, she's now in hot water because she halted flights between the U.S. and Guatemala, where we were going to return unaccompanied children back to their nation of origin. Their families were waiting at the airport, and at the last second, oopsie, I signed something under, haste. You know what? I think it's better if I just tell you exactly what happened. Or quote it. At a hastily arranged hearing on Sunday afternoon, Judge Sugnanan, who was nominated by former President Joe Biden, expanded the order to cover all unaccompanied children said to be at risk of deportation. The order will be in place for 14 days. Translation, she saw an opening, a legal loophole that does unfortunately exist in our federal institutions that allows these judges, these activists, unbridled power to stop the president from, in this case, returning unaccompanied children. One of the most evil things that can happen in these United States is the illegal immigration and trafficking of children and minors. And this judge is going to say, I'm going to stop it for all of them. As it turns out, according to this BBC article of all things, turns out that there were family members waiting at the airport not knowing what was going on. They didn't understand why their kids hadn't come home. This is just a vile situation, and all because of her vendetta herself against the President of the United States. This was originally filmed back in 2024, and again, if Josh Hawley is grilling you, you screwed up. And of course, that person got nominated. Judge Sugnanan, unfortunately, is a part of a greater problem. Under the first Trump administration, we had a historic amount of judges come through his watch. Thanks to the working relationship between him and Mitch McConnell, and I can't believe I'm thanking Mitch McConnell for something, but Mitch McConnell wanted to restore balance to the federal courts. He did so at the Supreme Court, and he started to do so at the lower levels that were still under federal jurisdiction. Unfortunately, Joe Biden upped the ante and churned out even more nominees than Trump did. And now we're starting to see the damage of those problems, of these terrible nominees who are keeping families apart by definition. This is a special kind of evil, and it's all rooted in this attempt to go after the now second-term presidency of Donald Trump. These judges hate him. They hate him in their bones for some insipid reason, and mainly because he comes from outside of their circles. He didn't go to the Ivy League, although he did go to Wharton, I believe. He did rub elbows with everyone up in New York City, understand that. But because he is from outside of their circles, he is therefore the guy that they hate the most. This is envy at its worst. We call it Trump derangement syndrome. I simply put it under the category of just unbridled, unadulterated envy. They hate success, and they'll fight tooth and nail because they know if this dude is having success, like we're seeing in Washington, D.C., when he deployed the National Guard, if he has success, that means they failed. They can't stand the stench of failure, and yet they despise the smell and the aroma of success. This is a horrific story. This is a horrific nominee, and unfortunately she got passed through because the Democrats cared more about placating rich white liberals and their ridiculous tendencies than they did about protecting the United States, and in this case, unaccompanied children who have come across our border illegally. This is fair to no one, ladies and gentlemen, and this is what we're fighting against. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. My name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on PolitiBrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.